website right now and download my free course on alternate picking mastery. It contains 5 essential exercises that will take you to alternate picking mastery faster than you can imagine. And then I've included my method of how to lay out a practice plan in just 1 to 2 minutes that will absolutely boost your results like nothing you ever tried before. So go download it right now. It's free. Hey! When you practice, you are following a pattern really of playing something and then making a mistake and then correcting yourself. And what happens if you keep running that pattern thousands and thousands of times over and over again, when you then, perform in front of other people, you can't stop running that pattern. So you try to play a song or whatever, or a solo, whatever it is, and then you make a mistake, and then your brain says, stop, correct, right? And if you talk like that, and you are not, totally proficient at talking, then you would constantly go back and say the previous sentence over again until you have everything correct from end to beginning. And that would be really annoying to listen to, right? We don't expect you to do that. We just expect you to correct whatever you said by saying it again in another way or making yourself heard, whatever, right? We don't want to. And so when you're playing music, you can't run that pattern that you're running when you're practicing. So just let me explain it. So for instance, if you try to play something like a sequence and you make a mistake, then you start over, right? Right? You start over all the time in order to correct yourself. And there are 2 ways out of that, and make sure that you can actually perform, that you can actually use the skills that you're building instead of building habits that will sabotage you when you perform. Is that, first of all, try to practice with no mistakes. Try to actually, when you read the tabs, then read them at a tempo where you can just, okay, this is the first note, okay. Then the 12th fret, B string, good, this is right here. Then we have a downstroke. Yes, that's correct. And then 13th fret, upstroke, 4th finger, yes. Right, at that tempo. And then you just take a little loop, and then you read it over and over and over again. Just read it at a tempo where you could, not frustrated, not impatient. And then suddenly, it makes sense. After just 2 minutes of doing that, and then if you stay at a tempo where you can really play it, then you won't make mistakes, right? It might be very slow in the beginning, and that's also the most efficient way of practicing, and it really requires you to be disciplined. Excuse me. Because you want to go, you want to learn faster, but that's the monkey brain really not knowing what it is that you're doing. So you need to really put some restraint. But if you are practicing and making mistakes, then you want to practice performing. You want to break that pattern. And if you've already been practicing like that a lot, then you want to break that pattern. And there are also ways of doing that. So when you practice, do what I just said. Try doing that for a month, right? But another exercise that you can do is that, for instance, if you're practicing improvising, then instead, if you've been practicing and you've been that was wrong. Let me see. And then you start over all the time. If you've been practicing like that, then try to just play without stopping at any given tempo. So, and then just, have that rule that you must play ba, ba, ba all the time without stopping, right? I used to do that, and then I did an exercise where I was just sitting in front of the TV, and then just, I couldn't stop. I just had to play a run, just random notes through the scale. And if I didn't know what to play, I would just go one note, right? And I might play something, but I didn't. I just forced myself to continue at a level of speed where I could kind of follow it with my current level of technique and everything, right? So I just... and just kept on playing, making mistakes, keeping on, because your brain wants to stop every time you make a mistake. Break that pattern. Keep playing, through the mistakes, because that's what any pro does. If you look at, solos at the top level, anything, riffing, rhythm guitar playing, we make mistakes all the time. but then we just continue because that's in the past, right? You can't do anything about it. So you might play a run. Oh, there was 4 or 5 notes that didn't come out right. Doesn't matter because now it's a new time, right? And so we have to move on. And so I really recommend that you practice this and focus on it. So when you perform, you will have broken that pattern of constantly correcting yourself. Because the pattern of practicing and the pattern of performing are 2 very different patterns in the brain. One is learning, and another one is using what you've learned. So please, and you can just spend 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes standing up with your guitar and then performing each day and really breaking the pattern of trying to correct yourself every time you make a mistake. Just go through it. Use it if you can. Okay. Make it even larger. And imagine yourself to be performing. Imagine yourself that there are actually people in front of you. Close your eyes, imagine the audience, and then just plow through any mistake you make and just play something else, play something new.
Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.